Welcome, everybody, to tonight's Sunday frequency meditation. It's good to be here together. Sundays always have their own texture. That's why I wanted to do these on a Sunday evening. The week's easing off, the next one quietly forming. And wherever the past few days have taken you, there's room for all of it here. Some weeks feel expansive, some full, some slightly unresolved. None of that needs tidying up before we begin. This space is less about resetting and more about settling, letting the system recognize where it already is. So tonight's meditation, alignment, crossing into density, this meditation moves through a very specific moment in human experience, the point where alignment stops being an idea and starts being lived, where your coherence becomes credible enough for reality to respond in practical ways. What is being shared here always comes from direct experience, from noticing how access to a more complete version of self becomes available. Mechanics of that access are visible and consistent. And that's all I can really offer you as a mechanics. Not only, that is what I'm offering. That is the magic, is the mechanics. Because the pathways into it remain infinite and very personal. So nothing here ever asks for belief or an agreement. It's simply an invitation to sit inside the experience as it's already unfolding for you. I really want to be aware of myself, that when I'm doing these transmissions, or a lecture or whatever it might be, that I'm just sharing my personal experience of how I have arrived to a place that I have more access to a more complete version of me, my direct experience, not theories, not beliefs, not values, none of that pushing into you like so many people do out there, because that's a limitation. But the mechanics, that's universal, and how you choose, the flavor you choose to get there, whatever doctrine, modality, lifestyle, that's your choice. That's your free will. Infinite paths all going to the same place. Isn't that great? Let's just take a breath in right now, just so we kind of stabilize here. And just as your attention rests, the environment quietly becomes part of the field. Sounds around you, they carry depth rather than demand. Stillness actually has texture. So another nice deep breath in, feeling that air coming into your lungs, maybe breathing in even more, feeling that tightness as the air occupies the space, holding it. And then as you release, just observe the air, a little bit warmer in temperature now from the body, releasing and releasing and releasing, just noticing you in your body. Letting the body meet whatever supports it in a way that feels ordinary and exact. Nothing dramatic announces itself, yet you'll notice your environment around you, that presence feels fuller. This is often the first understated recognition. Awareness gathers naturally when it's allowed to land rather than move. Organization follows not because it's directed, but because interruption eases. The system already knows how to do this very well. So what we're really doing is simplifying. Let's take another breath in. Letting that noise quieten. So we're not adding anything, we're actually taking away that noise of the mind. So this meditation is going to move through a very specific moment in human experience, the point where alignment starts being an idea and starts being lived. I just repeated that because nothing is required of you. Your nervous system can settle. The mind doesn't have to be on guard for agreement or disagreement. As you on your path. So from here, the body begins orientating and in a subtle, practical ways. Another deep breath in, and as you do, come to the center of your sphere. It's that center point in your brain. And just observe the left side of the brain, the right side, and then this center part. And this is just where we hang out. This is, if you like, this is where my home is, my launch pad, my control center. It all happens here. It's a reference point. You can always come back here at any time, no matter what's going on in your world around you. From here, you might start to sense the muscles relief, just enough to support the structure. Weight distributes naturally, so maybe somewhere where you've been clenching or putting excess weight on within the body just starts to distribute itself evenly. Just being here right now in this present moment creates a sense of being seated inside experience rather than leaning towards it. And this reflects something that has been shown up again and again across disciplines. When fragmentation drops away, coherence reveals itself. David Bohm spoke of this as an underlying order coming visual. So here it feels less conceptual, more lived. The body simply stops negotiating with gravity. So another deep breath in, all of us together. And just staying with this, it becomes clear that nothing is being installed or added. Instead, something inherent is being accessed right now. And again, going back to how these transmissions works, the mechanics become visible for you. That's what I guide you with. the mechanics that I received and how I have managed to gain access to something wholer than this physical version here in density. But the beauty of this is that although the mechanics are visible, that expression is individual. So I'm not, hopefully I never am, telling you how to get there, telling you what modality to participate in, or telling you what not to. That's your choice. That's expression. So let's stay here right now, because that's quite a load of information to give you about how these transmissions work. Letting your nervous system just settle into that understanding, knowing that there's nothing to be on guard about. Nothing's being pushed, promoted, sold. So let's just stay in silent for a second and just focus on your sphere right now, you being in the center of your sphere, the mechanics. And as this transmission moves, stillness takes on weight and a presence. How this shows up is that the body recognizes itself as a stable reference point in space. So balance feels natural rather than maintained. Awareness rests closer, less dispersed. This is often where density first responds, not to attention or desire, but to internal consistency. Reality, that environment around you that you have created, tends to take systems seriously when they hold their position easily. Just maybe reflect on the day you've had today. How many different timelines were you in? How fragmented were you? How consistent were you with your thought process of whatever you were trying to transform, achieve? Another nice breath in. What happens as we're remaining here? Attention loses interest in scanning or in anticipating. And your internal movement starts to slow without effort. Just notice how you're feeling right now. Perhaps there is a subtle certainty that feels more structural rather than emotional. This is one of those quiet insights that tend to arrive unannounced. Credibility is sensed, it's not asserted. It's kind of like physical reality, that environment around you that we're always trying to change. It responds to coherence the same way water responds to form, naturally, precisely, without explanation. So as this continues, as we breathe in, as we're in our sphere, just now observe your spine as well, this amazing transmitter. Much more than an apparatus holding the body up. So we notice our sphere, notice our spine. Just noticing you in your body, here, right now. And this will become more obvious for you that this access does not belong to a technique. It actually belongs to coherence itself. And coherence shows up through many forms, many practices, many lives. But the structure underneath remains consistent. That structure remains consistent, the mechanics, if you like, the system, the architecture, but the pathways into it vary endlessly. It's quite exciting that we all have this freedom of choice to create ourselves through any path we choose. So just stay present right now. You might feel there is an ease in holding position because nothing needs reinforcing, nothing needs checking. The system, without the demands of other people influencing it, dictating to it, as you have full autonomy, lets your system feel complete enough to pause. So let's just stay here for a little bit in silence. If you do that, just bring this precision even closer. As you practice this, the movement, the empowerment that comes is that you allow this steadiness to remain untouched. It's your core. Externals do not influence it. And then as we take another nice deep breath in, this time let's take it in from the core of the earth. There's frequencies here that are in perfect alignment. We have access to it. We're in the same density. Just coming all over, taking that breath right up from the core of the earth, right through your spine. It's 33 vertebrae, right up to that middle position in your brain, that sphere. And from there, let's expand outwards. Coherence naturally extends beyond the physical body into the surrounding field. I reference it as a frequency field. It's just a label. It's roughly around arm's length around you. It's where your induction frequencies, it's where the frequencies of everything creates you in this physical form. So just notice this area. And not as an expansion, not as effort, more as clarity becoming obvious to you. What comes to you? Perhaps the space feels organized, responsive, quietly intelligent. Experiences. Maybe they start to simplify and they feel less fragmented. Timing gets cleaner. Even decisions lose urgency. That's not because they're avoided, but because the pressure is no longer required. And again, everything I share is my direct experience, not something I've read, not a retreat I've gone on, but what I receive from the wholer version of me. And I always do my due diligence, reference other bodies of work out there that's maybe received the same messages. For in this instance, this reflects something Nikola Tesla understood intuitively. That frequency responds when structure aligns, not when it's forced. I always say, no one's ever going to heal if they're full of fear. It's neutrality. That's the invitation. And from here, perception itself begins to reorganize for you. Your attention, it stays unified rather than split between inside and outside. Maybe reflect on that on your spiritual journey, how much there is this split. The higher self versus, this self-intensity. Let's just narrow that gap. That split encourages separation, which obviously then a consequence, a reflection is disbelief. But there is a recognition that certainty does not announce itself or ask for belief. It simply exists when conditions are right. So instead of being in that future moment always, trying to capture, acquire that next version of you, again, it simply comes when conditions are right. So clarity emerges when interference drops away, not when effort increases. Isn't that what we've been shown so much? Effort, do. Be that next version. But what happens, again, taking a breath in, doing the movement, coming from the sphere, that center part in your brain, down your spine, right to the core of the earth, absorbing these pure frequencies, coming back up the spine, to your sphere, centered. That's where we hang out. It's where we're most empowered. It's the safest place to be. When we're here, reality starts to feel less like something to navigate and more like something already in conversation. There's that sense that life is paying attention in return. Not dramatically, not immediately. That's another thing that we get caught up in. We want the results, everything, before close of business today. It has its own time, its own unfolding. And again, like all of our journeys, all of our paths are very bespoke to us. It's the same with this timing. It's not about the time, it's about the precision. things that once required effort begin finding their place with less resistance. This is manifestation revealed as function rather than fantasy, alignment leading, and density responding. How often have we done it the other way around? Forcing density, our environment around us, to change, to shift. Yet at a frequency level, we're fragmented. We're not aligned at all with Source. So let's just stay with this ease of allowing things to move at their own intelligence. I know many of you, when you hear the word manifestation, the mind goes to, oh, creating more. What do I need to do? But you see all those other techniques out there, whether it's a law of attraction, The Secret. There's actually it's been around for so long, there's been studies out of people a decade later after doing these things. They actually manifested less than before, generally. So as I mentioned at the very beginning of this, it's not about techniques. I don't offer techniques. There's enough other sources out there to give you techniques, but that won't change the needle. That's just a workaround of an already inefficient system. And another nice breath in right now. So what I could pass on to you is a mechanics on how to become more coherent within. And that's the big job for us. That's the only job for us. The externals, the environment around you, realities, the wish list, that all comes to you, for you. But with such a precise intelligence, some of the things maybe we think we want, that more complete version of you can guide you with more precision and give you what really you want, but you're not aware of. Another deep breath in. We start allowing for coherence to lead. Patience becomes physical rather than emotional. There's no waiting. Nothing feels late. There's no panic, no FOMO. Because density reorganizes itself when coherence holds long enough for timing to recalibrate. This is often where intervention once appeared, checking, steering, attempting to manage outcomes. That belief system, it won't happen to you. You're not quite good enough, smart enough, chosen. But when we have a coherence first settle, and by the mechanics I've outlined, the movement, being in the present moment here, just observing. Intervention dissolves naturally. Let your awareness remain present and neutral while life adjusts through resonance rather than force, that effort. Always have to do something. Or other people telling you, no, you got to do it this way. All the religions are all in debate, aren't they? The only time anything's ever really resonated with me when I've been given instructions on techniques, if you like, is when our buddy Jesus said there's only one way. He didn't mean his way, follow him, the man. He's never referenced that. When Jesus spoke about one way, he was not pointing outward. He was not asking anyone to follow him, copy him, or believe in a system. In fact, he was pointing inwards. The way he referred to was not a path you walk with your feet. It was a state you enter through alignment, a quiet, direct return to what is already here beneath thought, beneath identity, beneath effort. It's got grossly bastardized. So as we settle down, there's nothing to reach for, nothing to improve. Just notice the simple fact of being here, present, aware, alive. This is what he was pointing to. Not many routes, not special access, not hierarchy, just the single internal doorway that exists in every human being. The moment attention turns inwards and rests in truth, the way is already open. We're not going anywhere. We're simply remembering where we already are. There's a quiet confidence here that feels different from effort. Things move because they can, not because they're pushed. That's when you'll start noticing conversations align, opportunities surface, resources arrange themselves in ways that feel practical rather than dramatic. And there's another recognition, often lands at this stage. Alignment doesn't make life extraordinary. Alignment, it makes it efficient. Structure leads, form follows. And as this continues, coherence feels less like a state, more like a location the system recognizes. The body knows how to remain here without supervision. Awareness no longer monitors itself. The field holds steady. And all of this, the steadiness, it feels familiar rather than elevated. So it starts to become your baseline rather than the peak. Once we bring all of these Once we bring all of these back from the edges, from the chasing, the peak moments, the sensations, the spiritual highs we think we are meant to collect, something very different begins to happen. To you, for you. Instead of reaching upwards or outwards, everything settles into coherence, into normality, into the quiet ordinariness of being here, breathing, existing, present in the body and in this moment. And it's here, not in the extremes, not in the spiritual entertainment that's being touted around everywhere for people, but it's here that the higher self doesn't descend, merges, not dramatically, not with fireworks, but seamlessly, almost unnoticed, like remembering your own name. There's nothing to become, nothing to summon. When your system's coherent and no longer performing spirituality, what you truly are fits back into place on its own, without effort. It's from that point the magic begins. So this isn't transcendence away from life. It's embodiment inside it. And in that simplicity, the merging's already happened. So it's very different than reaching into that next moment to be that next version of you. Ba, 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 ba. So what we've been resting into here, it's not a peak state, not a higher version waiting in the future, not something that arrives with intensity or sensation. It's the quiet coherence of being fully here. When we stop living in the next moment, the next insight, the next version of ourselves, fragmentation naturally dissolves. Attention gathers. Your system will settle. And in that settling, what we call the higher self does not arrive as something separate. It merges as normality, as presence, as coherence in this body, in this movement. You're not going anywhere. There is no integration that is needed because it, that wholer version of you, is you. And this is also where true manifesting lives. Not as effort, not as intention held outside, ahead of us, but as response. When nothing is being pulled into the future, nothing is resisted here. Reality organizes naturally around coherence. It's your default setting. There's nothing for you to have to do. And then life responds because it can finally locate you, whole, available, and present. And just reflect. How many moments of time have you been whole, available, and present? While being in that future moment trying to manifest. So let's take another deep breath in, all of us together, really being here in our body right now, feeling that environment around us, feeling that environment within us. There's nothing more to do. There's nothing to reach for, nothing to wait for. So just remain here exactly as you are. In this simplicity, the emergence already happened. And from here, life moves with you rather than being pushed towards. So stay here. Come back here. Listen to this again. Write it on the bathroom mirror, the principles, whatever it is, so that your awareness is filtered into this present moment right now. Giving yourself permission that there's nothing more to do, nothing to reach for, nothing to wait for. And then see how your reality around you shifts with this coherence. You'll deliver well beyond anything you could imagine right now with the limited rule set that we're in. So I'll leave you here with that clear understanding, awareness. There's many ways of arriving. This is one expression among many. I'm not speaking as the authoritarian on the universe. I'm just sharing what came to me for my more complete self, how I became aware of it. My job was discipline, consistency, and then how it has been created in density. The mechanics remain consistent. The flavor remains personal. So experience continues organizing itself in whatever language fits the individual system. So as we take a final breath in, and giving yourself permission to be okay in that nothing concludes, nothing needs summarizing. The system stays where it is, allowing life to continue responding in its own rhythm, quietly, precisely, already underway. And now you're in the position in space and time to receive the gifts of being coherent. Enjoy the week ahead, and I'll see everybody next Sunday.